Just going to go a bit further close.
Hello, good evening. Welcome. I'm not sure how many people there. We've got 2 people there at the moment, so we've got some more people who are expecting to join us. But very good evening. My name's Finn, calling you from Macknade, where we're going to be going through our first of our subscription service for our cheese subscription. So a very warm welcome to everybody. It's the first time we've done this. We're also really looking forward to rolling out a similar thing for a wine subscription service, and also a flour subscription service, a beer subscription service, and the wine, I think I've said. So yes, a number of other subscription services. So really exciting, and I hope everyone will enjoy this evening, and please do feel free to ask any questions. I think you can ask any questions online, and my colleague Katie will be here to assist as well. So I see a couple more people have joined. Let me introduce myself. My name is Finn, and I am the purchasing manager for Macknade. And but not just that, I have a particular fondness, shall we say, for cheese and charcuterie and wine and all those yummy things that we're pretty good at supplying here at Macknade. So yes, this is a project we set up by Katie. Thank you very much, Katie, who is right here, but she's being a bit nervous at the camera. So I'm just going to sort of say, there we are. There's Katie. Hello, Katie. Thank you very much, Katie, for setting this up. It's a great initiative, and hopefully everyone will enjoy it. So making up a cheese board. What do we do when making up a cheese board? Obviously, we want to have a wide representation of styles of cheese, of types of milk. So hence this evening, obviously we've got 2 cow's milk cheeses, 1 ewe's milk cheese, and 1 goat's cheese. So a wide range there. But we're also, this week we are concentrating on France. So this month we're concentrating on France. Next month will be another surprise batch of cheeses from wherever that might be. But this month is France. And we have cheeses really from all 4 corners of France. We have an Alpine cheese. We have a brie from Ile-de-France, which is the traditional home of Brie de Meaux. We have a cheese from the southwest, and also a cheese from the northwest as well. And that's a little twist to that one, which I'll tell you about as we go through. Obviously, cheese by its nature is a fantastic method of preservation, and has been used for thousands of years as a method of preserving really that one true superfood, which is milk, just the natural milk. And cheese is merely a means of preserving that for when the times are hard, for when the times are very cold, or it's drought or whatever. So cheese can be, for millennia, has been used to preserve that for lean times. And still is the same today, and constantly cheese has been made throughout the year at various times, various climates, and so every cheese is different. So especially artisan-made cheeses, they're not supposed to be the same as a supermarket packaged cheese. They are all individual. They're all, especially our range, artisan range, and very much designed or supposed to have their own individuality. So a winter cheese will change very much from a summer cheese, and depending on the terroir, the grass, the climate, the aspect, where the cows are grazing or where the animals are grazing, every cheese will change a little bit. We'll go into that a little bit more as we go along. So first of all, we're going to start with a classic Brie de Meaux. Now everyone thinks, we know Brie. Yes, I think there's something special about Brie de Meaux, the true Brie de Meaux AOC. That's the appellation d'origine contrôlée, which means it has to come. Brie de Meaux has to come from that area in the Ile-de-France, just to the east of Paris, not far outside Paris, but that is the true natural home of Brie de Meaux. And if you look at it, got it here, really fantastic condition. So huge credit to Neil and the deli guys for getting it in this condition, because it's not always easy to get the cheese when the cheeses come into us, they often come in a little bit under ripened, and then we have to ripen them to try and get them to just the right point for when they're being served to a customer. Now, the Brie de Meaux is, smell it. It's just that beautiful sort of herbal, grassy, chalky, but also slightly some mushroomy and sort of farmyardy aromas. And it's a real classic cheese, 100% cow's milk. For every single cheese, which is about a 3 kilo round, that uses 25 litres of milk. There's a lot of work from all these cows that goes into producing one cheese. This is a high moisture content cheese, a soft cheese, so it does ripen quickly. It's 2 months in the making, from the point of milking through to the point that it's at its optimum as it is today. It is made to be eaten young. I'm not going to try eating as we go, because as much as I'd love to, but otherwise you guys might get quite bored of just watching me eat, which I do enjoy quite a lot anyway. So really, when you do taste it, it's a really rich, unctuous, and sort of velvety texture, especially when it's at its best. When it's underripe, obviously it can be a bit chalky, a bit crumbly, a bit just a bit chalky on the palate. And then obviously when you go over, when it over ripens, then it can develop that slightly unpleasant ammonia-y flavour. So we want to try and avoid that, and hopefully, as we have it today, it's hitting it at its best. It's always best to leave it out to ripen for an hour or so as you go through the day. But a couple of hours before you have it out for your dinner, for the meal. It is unpasteurized and it's not vegetarian. That is to say, it uses animal rennet. But it is very much using traditional methods of making the cheese. It was previously a cheese which was enjoyed by the court, shall we say, the French court, but it then very much took on a symbolic nature post the revolution as the cheese of the people, where they the people took it back, as where it had been regarded as quite it's an ancient cheese, but it had been regarded as quite an aristocratic cheese, only enjoyed by the nobility and the aristocracy. Post the revolution, the French people took it back as the cheese of the people, and it's widely enjoyed around the world as such now. So I hope you do enjoy that. It really has got amazing nose on it. We buy it in directly from our affineur in France. So we're not buying it actually within the UK. We're buying it direct from France. So it does come across to us every week, or maximum every 2 weeks, from our friends over there just outside the Ile-de-France. I hope you enjoy that Brie de Meaux. Moving on to the Comté. Obviously, Ile-de-France, Brie de Meaux, just outside Paris. The Comté, which, yes, you can see just over here. This is the Comté, or as you can see in the wedge you have in your packets, like this. Amazing cheese as well. Again, another sort of really traditional, classic French cheese that many people know and love. In contrast to the 8 weeks or 2 months of aging that the Brie de Meaux has, the Comté is aged for 24 months. And whereas 25 litres went into the Brie de Meaux for a 3 kilo cheese, there's 400 litres of milk that goes into making one round or one wheel of Comté. There's 400 litres that make a 40 kilo wheel. So as you can imagine, the size of the wheel is pretty large and not faint-hearted. The reason why it's such a large cheese, and it comes from the Alps. It comes from Jura, which is just to the north of Jura Mountains, just to the north of the Alps. But in there, obviously, over historically, there's lots of small little villages or lots of small individual farms with a cow here, a cow there, lots of individual farmers. what they did was they all pooled their milk together. So they all do their milking of their own cows on a daily basis. They bring them all in to the local, effectively a cooperative, and they would put them all in together and to create large cheeses. And then each family or each farmer would then obviously get their own cut or their own wedge of cheese when it was ready. So that's traditionally why it's such a big cheese. It's just a big cooperative, everybody putting all their milk together of the very similar cows, all the herds, the same breed of cow, and all put together to produce that cheese. One of the really interesting things about, I find, with Comté, and actually it's not just Comté, it can be any mountain cheese, actually many, many hard cheeses. I said earlier, every cheese is different. There's specific, that is really the case, particularly the case for these hard cheeses. In the mountains, during the summer, the cows are feeding on the summer pasture, all the really lush, rich grass in the mountains, with the wildflower meadows, and all the foliage that comes with summer in the mountains. In the winter, they're feeding on silage in the barns, so it's very different cheese from summer to winter. In the summer, you'll find it's a very much herbier, grassier, and floral nose to it, whereas in the winter, the cheese is paler. Summer is very much a more buttercuppy kind of colour, and the winter it becomes a more paler straw colour and a much more nuttier flavour. So it's just indicative of, there's nothing to say one cheese is better than the other, but it is just that every cheese is made in a different time of year, different climate. So it might be snowing, might be raining, might be bright sunshine, and that affects the milk. It's obviously milk is coming straight from the cows into the cheese, and you taste that, and every cheese will be different. So it's amazing cheese, beautiful, really. I can't say exactly, I can't see, I don't know when this cheese was made, but from my understanding of this cheese, it very much, given the rich, buttery colour to it, I believe this is a summer cheese. So probably made summer 24, maybe even up to 36 months ago. So as we say, it has to be matured minimum 24 months. So that's a Comté. What else do I have to say about the Comté? That's really it, I think, for the Comté. But any questions, do ask. So that's the two cow's milk cheeses. I'm going to move now on to the goat's cheese, the Tom de Chèvre. Now I have to apologise here. In fact, I should have given Katie great credit for these booklets earlier, which I hope you're already finding useful. I think this is fantastic. Obviously, put all your notes in the book here and fill it out. And then next time you're in, or next time you're visiting any cheesemonger and you want to pick out this cheese, then you'll have the notes there to remind yourselves of which one. And obviously, each month, then you can fill that book up with the cheeses that you come through. But in this month's leaflet, we mentioned the Tom de Chèvre from Savoie. Now that's my mistake. Actually, our Tom de Chèvre is from completely the opposite end of the country, from the Manche, which is sort of the coast of Normandy, just by the Channel Islands. So actually, forgive the timing of it, but during our current sort of fish spat with the French fishermen, then this cheese actually comes very much on their doorstep. So forgive any national bias, but it is from that region. The reason I got it actually mixed up was initially Toms are generally referred to as, or quite widely referred to as, mountain cheeses. So Tom is a style of cheese of this shape and this size, which is frequently coming from Savoie and from the Alps. They do, however, make Toms in other areas of the country, and this is it. So it's actually more referring to the size and the shape of the cheese and the style of the cheese, rather than the provenance, where it comes from. But in this case, when I was initially putting these notes together last month, then I hadn't just double-checked close enough. So forgive me, but this is from the Manche, Normandy. So actually a perfect match with the wine, being a goat's cheese, which goes with the Cabernet Franc from the Loire. Yes, so a goat's cheese it's similar. Sorry, it's not similar. It's so that crumbly, light, delicate texture. It's a completely different texture to either the Comté or the Brie de Meaux. It is, it's light, crumbly. It's also a natural bloom rind. So again, eat the rind, eat the whole thing. It's very enjoyable. It's firmer and crumblier texture. And the Toms do come in many different age profiles, but this one is a younger one. So yes, it is quite a young cheese, older than the Brie de Meaux. I think this is probably about 3-4 months old. It's a really pleasant goaty smell on this one. A lot of people find goat's cheese too much. I hope that everyone here can enjoy it what it is, but so different to the cow's milk. And really, sweet, lighter, creamier texture, but quite tangy and almost not citrusy, but certainly it's got that goaty tang that is so unique to goat's cheeses, and in many cases it's a bit of a Marmite thing with goat's cheese, isn't it? Some people love it, some people loathe it. Personally, absolutely love them. I think again the difference in this one again with the light, this is a much smaller cheese. This is a cheese which is so about that. So as opposed to the Comté, which is like that. So these are very much individually made à la ferme. So artisan made cheeses on the farm by an individual farmer with his own individual herd. So again, each cheese will change as through the seasons, and because it is one person's herd and the conditions, so it's not being made to a specific standard. They do develop as they go through the year. I think it's a good introduction for those who are fans who aren't necessarily fans of goat. It's not an overpowering goat flavour. Yes, it's there and very evident, but it's not overpowering. And so I'd say, really good goat's cheese to introduce. And it's not just, I think this would be not just great in on a cheese board, but also fantastic in a salad or in being cooked with in some manner. Grated over pasta or whatever it is. But I match that with the wine. I'll come back to the wine in a minute, but yes, the wine is a Loire Cabernet Franc, which isn't a million miles away from, obviously it's relatively close to, or the closest of the areas to where this cheese comes from, but also the Loire is very well known for goat's cheeses, and so the wine matches very well with goat's cheeses, and I hope you'll get that. I'll come back to the wine in a minute. A fruity, zingy goat's cheese that I really love. Finally, in terms of the cheeses, we also have the Roquefort. So Roquefort is another cheese with a fantastic story and history. One of the many, again, very well-known cheeses in France. This one is the Roquefort Arbas. A number of the top Roqueforts all come from specific. There are about 5 or 6 houses in Roquefort, companies who specialise in making the really very best Roqueforts, and this is one of them. So with Roquefort, so first of all, it's obviously a blue cheese, but rather than goat or milk or goat or cow, this is made from ewe's milk cheese, and that is explicitly the Lacone breed of sheep or ewe, and they are specifically to this area of the southwest of France in Roquefort. Roquefort-sur-Salauzon is the village, and all Roquefort or all PDO Roquefort, that is a protected designation of origin. So again, coming from that particular area to be called Roquefort has to be from within that, around that village area. And all the cheeses are matured and ripened or aged in the limestone caves that occur naturally in the mountains or in the hills around the village. There is a legend around it, in that the the Roquefort originated as a young shepherd boy was up in the hills with his flock of Lacan sheep one day and stopped for lunch in one of the caves to get out of the heat of the sun during the day. He had his loaf of bread and he had his just plain used milk cheese to go with it. He put the two together, and then in the distance he spied this beautiful young French maiden who he took a shine to and raced off into the distance to go and find her. Love blossomed, and that was all very good. And then several months later, he returned to the cave where he'd been sitting, and the mold which had grown on the bread had spread into the cheese. And consequently, that gave birth to Roquefort blue cheese. That particular mold which grew on that bread, which is now known as Penicillium roqueforti, became the mold which is specific to Roquefort cheese, and that's how it evolved. And even now, there are Roquefort companies or makers who still grow or still age bread in these caves to develop that particular mold, which they will then introduce to the cheese. So they still use bread to create the mold to introduce to the cheese. And as you can see from the cheese, it's got this lovely deep green vein or deep blue vein texture to it, really crumbly, really light and delicate, very moist cheese. Again, quite young, it's a fantastic, really salty, spicy punch, but at the same time, sort of very creamy and aromatic with that that unmistakable tang of a really good Roquefort, and not to be mistaken with other blue cheeses. It is very particular as in itself. So that's the four cheeses, which I'm salivating now, which I was eating along with you, and I'm sure I will be afterwards. But I also want to talk a little bit about the accompaniments, which we've included as well. So we have the fig mostarda. Now, I'm afraid we didn't go French this one. This is mostarda di fighi, which is from Le Tamarici in Italy. So these guys are a company who we are very delighted to work with at Macknade. We're one of the very few companies. I only know one other company in the UK who actually stock these mostardas from Tamarici. We buy them in direct from our friends in Italy. And what they are they're preserved fruits, which then have a mustard added to them. So you really get that sort of bit of a kick from the mostarda. They're fantastic with cheeses and also really amazing with cold meats and charcuterie as well. But don't go too far. Don't go over the top. Just a delicate little bit, because it doesn't need a lot. Because they have got that mustard spice, that mustard hit. Don't let it overpower the cheese. Let it enhance the cheese, but don't smother it. So just let it, use the herbiness of the fig. Use that sort of the sweetness of the fig to enhance the cheese. And let the mustard sing a little bit, but don't overpower it. And that, again, complementing by the chive and olive oil crackers, again works really well. So with both of these, there's quite a sort of herbiness to the fig as well as the spiciness, and then the and chive and olive oil crackers as well, which, as you'll see here from Fine Cheese Co., who we do amazing crackers. We do a huge amount of work with Fine Cheese Co. They've got a huge range of crackers, but this is one of my favourites. And with the wine, which I'm delighted to get my hands on now, Cabernet Franc as a grape lends itself really well to being paired with herby dishes and as I said, goat's cheese. So this is the Cabernet Franc here, which is for those who don't have it with them at home. So not everyone's got it, but it's the Domaine Langlois Chateau Saumur. So from the banks of the Loire. So So just between, for those who know the Loire Valley, it's between Angers, just to the west, and Tours to the east. Obviously, a couple or 3 hours just to the southwest of Paris. And the Loire Valley for reds is synonymous with Cabernet Franc, or the other way around. Cabernet Franc is synonymous with Loire reds. So Cabernet Franc is a really interesting grape because it's actually, everyone knows Cabernet Sauvignon. Cabernet Franc is actually the parent grape together with Sauvignon Blanc of Cabernet Sauvignon. So Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Franc and Sauvignon Blanc got together to create Cabernet Sauvignon, which is obviously now one of the over hundreds of years being one of the best known or widely planted grapes around the world. And Cabernet Franc, as its parent, is slightly lesser known, but it's still a really, really important grape, not just in the Loire, but in Bordeaux. So classic grape varieties in Bordeaux, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Cabernet Franc, amongst others. But yes, this is a really light, beautiful wine. It's a medium body, so it's not full, but it's also not light. It's not as light as a Gamay. It's not as punchy as a Grenache or a Syrah, but works really well. Works really well as a sort of lunchtime cheese. Lunchtime wine. Can be drunk chilled in the heat of the summer. It's the heat of the summer in the Loire, where you've got a fantastic array of cheeses and meats out, and you want to have treat yourself to a glass of wine at lunch, then have this chilled, and it will really work beautifully well with those chilled meats, cheeses, and salads and so on. So it is interesting also that the house, Domaine Langlois Chateau, is actually owned by the Bollinger family, has been since 1973. Bollinger, as in the very famous champagne house, and so it's they obviously see the credentials of the Loire as a wine producing area, and it's one of those wine producing areas which has maybe gone a little bit out of fashion in the last few years, but make amazing wines, and really fantastic, from a really sort of medium wine like a Vouvray to something really crisp like a Muscadet from the far end of on the coast of the Loire, and all the way into the depth of the Loire with Sancerre just on the edge of just opposite Pouilly-Fumé, then bordering into Burgundy. So a really great wine, nice sort of violet in colour, young, fresh, but it works really well with the soft cheeses like the Brie de Meaux, equally with the goat's cheese, which is really well known for, and by extension, then why not anything the Comté and the Roquefort. I hope you all enjoy. Any questions? I suppose I don't know how the questions work, Katie. Will people just, if anyone has any answers, ask any question, please do go ahead. But I hope that you've all enjoyed that, and then just remind you that next month we'll have some other surprises. I'm not going to spoil the fun, but next month there will be a further parcel arriving on your doorsteps, and which I very much hope you will enjoy, and we'll be doing a similar presentation again, and equally, as I said at the beginning, we will also be introducing a subscription service for the wines and beers and flowers. Any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Thank you very much for your time on a Friday evening. And I think it's also been recorded. So for those who haven't had a chance to watch it this evening, or if you want to come back and look at it later when you're actually eating all your cheeses, then please do. And we really welcome any feedback. And for this, our inaugural session of our tasting. One thing I haven't mentioned is just to say I'm talking to you from our site in Ashford, which is our new store down in Ashford for those who haven't visited. Obviously, I think probably the majority of you will be familiar with the shop in Faversham and the extensive deli counter we have there. But equally, I'll try and pick it up very quickly and just show you. We have also obviously a significant deli counter here. and a fantastic range of wines and other shops, other ranges as well, and also a very substantial area for dining and coming down and having lunch, which is really exciting. That next week will be sort of the 17th, be opening up inside, but it's also great here. We've got a big outside terrace area here, which is away from the cars, and although it's central in Ashford, it's got a lovely area to sit out there and enjoy your cheeses, your wines, whatever else you might be doing. So thank you very much, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed that and look forward to any feedback. Cheers.